with the BOJ then. The BOJ steps away from all of that ultra-loose monetary policy, just stops. And as a result, we don't see a huge amount of movement relative to that event, that news event, if you like, in the yen. And actually the yen weakening down by 0.8%. What are you watching for next on this story?
Yeah, so interestingly, you should say, Anna, it's not exactly stepped away from everything, OK? It has abandoned the negative interest rate policy. It has also done away with the ETF purchases that it was doing previously and the cap on the 10-year yield. But it is still buying bonds. It is still doing quantitative easing, and it is still talking about having an accommodative monetary policy. They want to be very careful not to destroy the inflationary environment that they've worked so hard to create. And that's why we see a little bit of weakness in the yen. People are not expecting a big series of hikes based off of this announcement. There may be a gradual rise in yields, and that may start to support the yen, but it's not the sort of thing that's going to see it searing higher in this environment. And that's kind of the situation that we've left ourselves in after the pretty historic decision by the BOJ.
OK, so historic decision, but not the start of a series of hikes, and so the yen weakens. We went through 150 and hover around there. Now the baton passes to the Fed, the other side of the dollar-yen pair.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be really interesting for determining the direction of the yen in particular, and of course for global asset markets as well. Everybody's talking about the dot plot. Is it going to see a shift to 2? Could that be dollar supportive? We have seen the dollar on a little bit of a rally recently. It's been gaining some strength. It's been hurting emerging markets in particular. If we do see that the Fed is going to sort of dull those bets even further on rate cuts later in this year, it may well support the currency, and that could again be harmful for the yen and see it continue to weaken on this trend.
Paul, thanks very much. Paul Dobson, Bloomberg's executive editor for Asia Markets. Let's get another view this morning. Frederick Neumann joins us, HSBC's chief Asia economist and co-head of global research. Fred, very good to have you with us. And it seemed that increasingly, as we were getting towards this BOJ meeting, the market was coming round to the idea that we would get this big movement today. And yes, to Paul's point, they're still buying JGBs, but they've stepped away from negative interest rate policy. And conceptually, at least, they've stepped away from that yield curve control policy. I mean, the framework that we were given previously. What are you watching for next, then? Because this does feel like maybe not the end of the story around the BOJ.
It's not, but we haven't gotten much clues today as to what the BOJ is thinking going forward. The market is kind of left hanging a little bit in terms of what's the framework. When would the Fed, the BOJ, ease again? Is it data dependent? Are there certain thresholds they're looking at? So we have had this one-off adjustment, but we're really left hanging in terms of what to expect next. Now, our view is that actually, given that the weak yen is so important, the reflation story, there's a limit to which the BOJ can actually tighten policy. We may be stuck at 0 for a while. And as we just heard, actually, it's not just that we're stuck at 0. We're still buying bonds. We actually still, in effect, easing policy. So it's a very, very dovish hike, a dovish hike as they come.